All right, so before we do any sort of eliminating opposite stuff, we need to write them in the same way. Typically, we put the X's in the front. So did you all see that? It happened very magically. Are you ready? Ready? Boom.
Oh my God.
Did you see it? I'll do it again. Ready? Boom. All right. So I know you can't do that on your paper. So you'll just rewrite the second one. So rewrite it to be, do you guys remember what it's called where we have the X and the Y then the equal sign? Standard form. So we want to write these both in standard form first. So if you want to erase or if you just want to write it below, that's fine. Now, what's going on here? It's the same. Are they opposites? No. I want to make them opposites. So if you want to tackle the y's, you would have to multiply the first one by positive 3.
Oh, they have to be the same number too?
Yeah, it has to be the same number and opposites so that they go away. So these are very close. They're both 4s. I want to turn one of them into a negative 4x. If you want to go for the top, that's fine. I'm going for the bottom, okay? So I am turning the bottom equation into negative 4x minus 9y equals 5. All the signs changed here. I just copied this one down here, okay? Now I can add the equations. So remember, people call this the elimination method. They also call it the opposites method. I actually call it the opposites method. Remember to get opposites. All right, I need the burps to get under control. Freaking me out a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and add these. What happens to the x's? They're gone. What is negative 3y plus negative 9y? Negative 12y. Yeah, you guys are getting real excited. Bless you. Now what? Divide both sides by negative 12. 6 divided by negative 12 is negative 1/2. Negative half. Negative 1/2. All right, plug that back in. I don't see an even number. That was the first thing I looked for is one of these even where the fractions will disappear. They won't. So I'm just going to go with the smaller one, the first one. So I have 4x minus 3 times negative 1/2 equals 1. When I multiply those, it turns into a plus 3/2, right? It's just the 3 times the 1. Okay? I can subtract 3/2 from both sides.
What is it?
So 1 is the same thing as 2 over 2, right? So it's like 2 over 2 minus 3 over 2. Well, that's one way to do it. I'm going to do it the way I just said. Or you could multiply everything by 2 and get rid of the fractions. That's what's programmed up there. I'm going to show you the way I was doing it, though. So if you subtract 3/2 from both sides, think of this as 2 over 2. 2 over 2 minus 3 over 2 is what? What's 2 minus 3? Negative 1/2. Yep. And then dividing by 4 is the same thing as multiplying by a 4th, which might be the easier way to think of it here. So we get negative 1/8. So it's negative 1/8, comma, negative 1/2. This is not one I would check in my head. This is one where I would get that calculator out and use that ABC button and check it real quick. All right, any questions? Okay. Any ideas? Multiply the top by 2. When you multiply the top by 2, you end up with 14x minus 4y equals 0. I'm going to rewrite this one down below. And a few of you, I can hear the commotion a little bit. You're already seeing the issue here. What happens? You get 0 equals 3. Does 0 equal 3?
No.
It does not. So what's my answer?
No solution.
No solution. So we already saw one where it's all the ordered pairs on the line. That was example 2. We got 0 equals 0. When you get something that's not true, it's no solution. Okay, so those are the 2 special cases. You have one example of each. Do you have any questions on how they're different? Okay, I am going to skip number 8 just so we can see some word problems. Is everyone okay with this decision?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Come on.
That was if you have two ones.
We can go 5 and do. We can.
All right, here is number, well, I'll just show you real quick. How do you think you'd start this one?
You switch A and B.
Yeah, you got to subtract the B. So you just need the A's to line up, the B's to line up, and the equal signs, and then you go from there, okay? Let's get to the word problems, though. All right, so 4 oranges and 5 apples cost $3.56. 3 oranges and 4 apples cost $2.76. Find the cost of an apple. Okay. Well, I'm going to use X's and A's. I don't like to use O's because they kind of look like zeros. So it'd be like 4O would kind of look like 40, right? So I'll just use an X. So I'm going to let X represent the cost of the oranges. I'm going to let A represent the cost of the apples. Now, if you want to use X and Y, that's fine. If you want to use O's and A's and just be really careful, that's fine too. This is what I'm doing, okay? 4 oranges. So how would I write 4 oranges? 4X and, what do you think that is? Plus 5A equals 356. That is the information I got from the first line. The next line says 3 oranges and 4 apples cost $2.76. Very good. Okay, so I am going to tackle the X's, okay? So I'm going to turn these into opposites. The way I'm going to do that, and I'm not going to make you type it in the calculator since we are running short on time, so the answer will magically pop up. I'm going to multiply the top equation by 3. I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by -4. So everything up top by 3, everything on the bottom by -4. That's going to get my X's to go away. I'll be able to find the number of apples. And look, find the cost of an apple. If you know you're looking for the A, get the other variable to be the one that cancels out. Okay? So I get 12x plus 15a equals 1068. Again, take my word for it. We don't have time for the calculators right now. On your homework, I know you'll type it in. Bottom, -12x minus 16a equals -$11.04. When I add those, the x's are gone. I'll get -1a equals -0.36. So an apple costs 36 cents. That's it. If you want to plug it back in and find the number, the cost of oranges and check everything, that's fine. But if it says find the cost of an apple, you can stop once you've found the cost of an apple. Okay? What are your questions? Don't put your notes away. We still have another one. Are we good with the apples? All right. Now, this next one, I'm just going to set it up with you, and then I'll pass out your homework. So I at least want to practice getting it started. So this says Sam paid $1.25 skate rental with dimes and nickels only. There were 19 coins in all. How many of each coin does she have? So we looked at problems a few chapters ago, the box problems. Remember those?
Yeah, when we make that box.
Yeah, like we call them chart problems. We made a little chart. Now we're just learning another way to do this. So I'm going to call D the number of dimes. I'm going to call N the number of nickels. Does anyone know one of the equations?
I want it to be like,
I know you put in
0.10.
What is she talking
So
about?
point
Nickels in the dimes.
10 what?
0.10
Times D.
0.10 times D. A dime is 10 cents. So 0.10 times D. What else do you know?
The nickels cost 25. I mean, nickels cost 5.
Okay,
Thinking of quarters.
how do I write that?
0.05.
0.05. Yeah, not 0.25, not 0.5. Okay, so if you're talking about how much each one of them is worth, you have to find the worth of all of them. Okay? When I add up all the coins, I don't get $19. So don't put the 19 here. The actual value of the coins, when I add them all together, is 125. When I add just the amount of nickels and the amount of dimes, I get how many coins?
19.
So that's my second equation. The number of actual coins in your hand has nothing to do with how much they're worth. We're not going to finish it because we're going to run out of time. But how would you finish this?
No. Yeah.
Change whatever
I
to
bet
make it the opposite. And then you lost the
Listen to me.
Do you want to know how I would do it? I would get rid of the decimals in the top. Then I would use the substitution method.
What if you times it by 100?
That's too much work.
Couldn't you get the D or the N by itself really easily?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would subtract N from both sides and then plug D, D in the other one, 19 minus N. So don't forget, you can use the other methods we've learned if they're easier on things like word problems. Because word problems, it doesn't usually tell you which method to use. So if there's a method that's easier, go for it. All right, we still need our summary. What did we learn today?
Today we learned how to eliminate.
Solve
So you elimination.
by elimination.
How to do math? We don't have these like these two done.
That girl is 245.
Right. Okay, so you can say solving equations using elimination. Or if you want to call it the opposites method now, that's fine. But somehow summarize what we did today. And here comes your homework.